we start using this mood altering chemical because maybe we just want to numb things out. Life's been so difficult. And then we get hooked on it. And you get hooked and then you start to look at yourself and go, look at this, look at my life. Look at what I've done. And now the shame starts to set in. From New Life Ministries, this is Going Deeper with Stephen Arterburn. I'm Stephen Arterburn. And Going Deeper is all about taking the tough issues, the hard issues of life, looking a little bit deeper inside so that we can gain some insight into our lives. Hi, Steve Arterburn here. Thanks for joining me for Going Deeper. And we're going deeper into shame. Not that we want you to have more shame, we want you to have less of it. A lot of times, people don't deal with the shame because it's so painful to go back and deal with the source of it. Well, I want to talk to you about some shame that has nothing to do with the past. I mean, it could a little bit, but it has to do with today. Now, we all know that we can be so obsessed with something that it ends up causing us to have a compulsive behavior as a result. For instance, if I am obsessed, just can't get it. If I'm obsessed with inferiority, it could be because of shame, and I'm just thinking I'm the worst person ever, then you know what I might do? Of course, I don't really realize that's what's fueling it. I might become a workaholic to prove that I'm not bad. I might think if I could earn a bunch of money, if I could succeed, it would overcome that. So I become a compulsive workaholic. It happens all the time. But here's something else that happens. We go along in life and we discover there's this thing called mood alteration. Some people, they take a drink and, they relax a little bit, enjoy it, it's great flavor, they adapt to it, have some buddies over, a couple of beers, no big deal. Other people, they drink so much alcohol, they have such a high tolerance, they get addicted to it. Now, if I shoot heroin in my veins, I will be addicted to heroin if I do that a couple of times. If I have a couple of drinks, I'm not going to be addicted to alcohol. Now, this is something a lot of people, if you're in a faith or a denomination that thinks nobody should ever drink, well, there is drinking in the Bible. In fact, Paul told Timothy, why don't you take a couple of drinks there, buddy, for that stomach of yours. Now, that he wasn't talking about grape juice. He was talking about wine that had alcohol that would actually kind of settle Timothy's stomach. So I don't drink myself, but I don't think it's evil for people to drink. But some people have, you could call it a gift, but it's really a curse. And your tolerance is so high that you can drink so much that you could get addicted to it. The other day on the radio program, I asked a guy, I always like to ask people, so when you were drinking, how much could you drink? He said 6. I said, well, 6 beers? That's not much. No, 6 six-packs in a day. 36 beers in one day. Now look, I'm telling you something. Most people, you would get so sick, or you would be so drunk, or you'd fall asleep. Not this guy. He's functioning well, but he has an addiction problem. And once we get the addiction, whether it's from a drug and doesn't take much, or from alcohol, takes a lot, we end up in a cycle. And here's what happens. We start using this mood-altering chemical because maybe we just want to numb things out. Life's been so difficult. And then we get hooked on it. And you get hooked and then you start to look at yourself and go, look at this, look at my life. Look at what I've done. And now the shame starts to set in. And so you really think you're an outcast. You reject yourself. You don't like yourself, and other people don't like being around you when you're using either. So guess what? You kind of separate yourself from other people. You get disconnected or distant. And in your isolation, you don't learn the nuances of talking, sharing, being in a healthy relationship. So what does that do? It causes you to feel like an outcast, like you're not part of what everybody else is a part of. And so you kind of behave in strange ways. People go, what's the matter with him? He's kind of weird. And then you do inappropriate things. You don't have good boundaries. You don't care about other people. You kind of have a self-obsessed, always the center of attention, always blundering, always the problem. So what do? Well, all of that results in shame. What do you do with shame? Go back to your drug or your alcohol and try to numb it down. And it just gets worse and worse until you reach that point where you finally, what we call, hit bottom, where the pain of staying the same becomes greater than what you would imagine the pain would be of getting better, of giving up whatever it is that you're dependent on or addicted to, and then living life free from it. Now, I've worked in alcohol and drug treatment since 1977, and I've seen some guys that, they could not go an hour without putting alcohol in their system. They were so fragile. I understand how difficult it is to give something up. One of the greatest Christians in this world, Johnny Erickson, taught chronic pain. The drug fentanyl came out, and the pharmaceutical company that was selling it told all the physicians, this is not addictive, but it really helps. Johnny told me that she got addicted to fentanyl. Her doctor gave it to her. She just innocently took it. And then she got addicted to it. Said it took her a year to get off of it. What a horrible thing. So you don't have to be a bad person to get addicted. But when you do get addicted, you feel such shame, such pain. You have to reach this point where you say, I've got to stop. And here's the good news. When I recover, I don't bring the shame along with me. I'm truly trusting God with my future, with my addiction, with my relationships. And if I work those 12 steps, eventually I'm going to make it right with every person that I've harmed. And I'm going to stay current. And when I mess up, I'm going to admit it. And I'm going to continue to stay right with every person. That's the gift of recovery. It's the opposite of living in shame. So I would just say to you, if you're watching this and you have somehow, whether innocently or on purpose or whatever, you've gotten yourself addicted to something, or it's habitual, or it's a compulsive behavior, it could be fueled by the shame. If you'll call us, we'll help you. We'll tell you what you can do. We can find a meeting for you. Or if it's sexual addiction, you can go to Every Man's Battle. But we've been dealing with this for 32 years. We've been around as New Life, and we've been taking a lot of 800 number phone calls. You could be the next 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I realize when you go to make a phone call for help, the phone, little bitty tiny cell phone, weighs about 400 pounds. You pick it up and you call us, and you will not regret it. Thanks for joining me for going deeper into shame. Steve Arterburn here. If you need some help, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Thank you for joining me for Going Deeper. I hope something I've said may have helped just a little bit. If you have a question you'd like me to answer or comment, just email me at stevesocial@newlife.com. I'll see you next time.
If you want to support Going Deeper with Stephen Arterburn, be sure to subscribe so you never miss another episode. And if you know someone who would benefit from this episode, be sure to share it with them. See you on the next Going Deeper with Stephen Arterburn from New Life Ministries.